Shalom Aleichem. As we're still in the Mei Avelus, the Shloshim of Rabbi Gershon, and since he requested a few months ago that all the Mashpim should speak about Ben Adam Chaveroi as well, so that's what we'll do, Mitzvah Hashem. And obviously it doesn't mean that Ben Adam Chaveroi is top priority, it's the biggest thing. It means it has to be dealt with, it can't be neglected. Not everything that has to be dealt with means it's the most important. It is very important. It's very high up, but obviously Torah is more important. Torah is above. But Lemaisa, nothing can be neglected. Ha'omer eini elo Torah. A person says, all I stand for is Torah. Afilu Torah inlai. A person says Torah and Yiras Shamayim. One of the things of Gershon was always mechazik was the need of Musa. Every speech he gave, every hesped, he always said you have to learn Musa. It didn't make him a Baal Musa in a negative sense. It meant that he wanted people to learn Musa as well. It didn't mean that he stood for Musa. He stood for everything. And his main thing, is obviously top thing, was Torah. That's what he did the whole day. Musa, he always said, you don't need such a long time. You need even 5 minutes a day to get a bit of chizuk every day, 5 minutes. A sefer which you enjoy, which appeals to you, which you feel interested when you learn it. Now he spoke about it every day. It didn't mean that he was the Baal Musa of the Dor. Now he was, because he made everybody learn Musa. But Maisa, that's not what he did all day. He did it a few minutes. Actually, he did half an hour. He said he did not do more than half an hour a day. But he did speak about it because he felt it was neglected. So wherever you are, if you're in a kollel, or in a kollel balabatim, or in a yeshiva, or yeshiva balabatim, wherever you are, make sure you learn every day. You have a quiz of a few minutes of Musa. It can be 10 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, it can be 5 minutes. Either you listen to a shir of Musa, or you learn Mesias Yeshorim, or Shari Tshuva, or any other sefer which makes it exciting, which makes it interesting for you. Then you'll internalize things better. Right, so I have to always bring the mashal. Somebody is learning Torah now. So obviously he's doing the biggest mitzvah. But let's say he has to go in the middle has to stop to go to the Priyasha Yotza room, as my father says, so sein gesund. It doesn't mean that is the biggest mitzvah to go to the Priyasha Yotza room. It means that right now it's top priority for the next few minutes because it has to be dealt with. Doesn't mean it's more important than Torah. Although be'emes, right now it's more important than Torah because otherwise you can't learn. So it's taka more important, meaning in the activity, lemaisa, what you have to do is taka the most important thing. But what's the biggest concept in Ruchnius, in Judaism? Going to the toilet is not the biggest concept and biggest mitzvah. It is the most important mitzvah sometimes. Like eating is the most important thing when you're starving and you can't live or you can't learn. It doesn't mean that eating is the biggest issue and the biggest concept in Torah, in the Torah world or in Judaism. It means it is the most important things sometimes when you're starving and you can't learn or you can't daven. And everything else is the same. That's the way to look at things in a balanced way. Not everything that we're mechazik means it's the top priority. Generally, it could mean that right now it's top priority. So that's good to know, have a proper perspective in Ashkofa when certain topics and items are being mechuzik. It doesn't mean it's the biggest mitzvah. It means right now it has to be dealt with, and therefore right now it's like a top priority. Like some people can't learn without air conditioning. They can't move without air conditioning. So for them right now, air conditioning is top priority and the most important thing because now they'll be able to learn. It doesn't mean it's the biggest thing. It means it's right now top priority to be dealt with. Just to get things here, as they say, some things you weren't taught in certain places, something has to be taught. Torah is the biggest mitzvah, obviously, but other things also have to be dealt with. So Gershon says, "Kasba Adam Chaveroi." So I'd like to put in the point of Adam Chaveroi, which is also to do with the Emunah B'tochen. So as we always brought up at home that Rabbi Gershon is the God Lador. So since I moved to Bnei Brak, I would go to Gershon whenever I could, whenever Yom Tov. And there was a time when it was possible I would daven Shachris with him nearly every day, and at least once a week I'll try to speak to him something, either a question or something which my mother would send me to ask or to discuss or get a bracha or whatever. And so a very peripheral, totally zeitige Zach, he never ever said he has no time. He never looked at his watch, he never said he's busy, he never said he has to go. He had plenty of time. Now, as we know, time is the most important asset. Obviously he was the richest man in the world, he has the most time. He always had time, he never said he had no time. Now, I used to speak to him in a certain yeshivitana where he used to daven. It was close to his home, there was no stairs. But previously I heard when he used to go to Panovich every day, so he was there for Shachris, and after Shachris people would come over to him with whatever, and he would always stay there till the end. As many people as there were, he was always there. So I was thinking, what's the plat? And had there been 100 people, so he wouldn't give shir that day. So I don't know what he would have done, but Maisa, you get Siyata Dishmaya. And he just said, yes, right now the right thing is to people have difficulties, they need his help, he's there for them. There might not be time later for shir. I'm sure he had betachon that there will be time. So, first of all, it's a big nekuda of Adam Nechavero. Someone comes to you, you never tell him, I have no time. Now, what's the pshat? Taka efshu, you have no time. Could be taka busy. So if you say, right now, somebody's waiting for me, I have to stop right now, could be something else. But some people, they just say, I have no time. So there's two problems in that. First of all, Adam Nechavero took a point. You're telling that person, I have no time for you. Now, if he doesn't understand that, that's very good. But some people actually do get that message. It might not be true. It could be that's not the message, but that's the message they get. Because we know that whatever is important, there's always time. As we know, we see people in their life, they have time for there's time for everything else. What's about everything else? When they say certain things, there's no time for it, it means it's not important. It's actually a very goyish thing to say I have no time, because in America time is money, so just say there's no time, it's very important, I just have no time. Chaim Kanievsky as well, he never said he had no time. He obviously wasn't a busy person. Kavyachol, he had nothing to do all day. Same with Gershon, same with Steinman, they never said we have no time. Now there's also points, so obviously in Gashmis, if somebody says I want to speak to you, yes, I have no time, so hopefully you won't realize, but if he sees you have time for everything else, the next person you met, you had all the time in the world for him. Why? It was in your interests. So he'll ask you later what happened, you say, oh, that was very important. So that's even worse. You're telling him whatever you have to discuss with me is not important, which means you're not important, and therefore, that's a big problem. So, first of all, you never tell anybody you have no time. Kolshkin, don't tell your family, of your wife. Now, some people, they don't want to explain the reason why they can't do certain things. So they just say a global answer, it's a general answer, it's a master answer, it covers everything, I have no time. But sometimes it's better just to say something else. Say, right now, I have to, somebody's waiting for me, I have a meeting. Oh, okay. Whatever the meeting is, first come, first serve, people understand that. No time gives the message that it's not important. So he's very careful not to say no time. Then the person has a shaila, what do you mean if I start giving this person my time and helping him? What's going to be with other things I have to do? Have to do dafyomi, have to pay shir, have to eat, have to sleep even. The answer is, you can have bitachon for that as well. The same way we know everything's all about ishtadlus, so too with time. There's another point, however, a more deeper point. When a person says I have no time, but he's saying like this. His whole life is koich v'etzim. Now, he might have channeled his koach habitachon to money, to physical power. And there he was okay. Yeah, he knows, even though right now he doesn't have physical power to do something, or doesn't have the money to do something, but okay, Hashem will help. There's an aspect called time which is so basic in the world, in the Bria, so it's difficult to apply and when we're talking to the aspect called time. Right? Time is very, kaviyachol, time is not elastic. In so there's no time, there's just no time. But then a person's betzim telling himself that the reason he was matzliach to do anything he did, or will be matzliach to even try to do anything, is because he has time. In other words, he's saying the same way a person thinks, I can buy everything if I have money. That's obviously wrong. If Hashem wants, you'll buy it. If Hashem doesn't want, you won't buy it. With all the money in the world, you won't buy it. Why? I don't know. The shop might be closed. Whatever. Same too with time. If a person says, I have time, I can do whatever. I can learn Daf Gemara. I have time, I can do here, go here. I have time. So you're saying it's the time which enables you to do things and not Hashem. That's a problem of believing in Teva Menogish Oilam Keichvetz Imyadi. After that's a pshat in the Gemara says, Machshava me'eles afilu ledivei Torah. Rashi says, a person says, I'll finish this Masechta by a certain date. And there's a kitrug on that and doesn't necessarily work. Why? Could be that's a pshat. He's saying it's totally in time. Within a month, I'll finish a certain daf. Oh, that means you're saying that it's not totally b'siyata d'shmaya so much. In other words, when it comes to the chokhmah, HaTorah, the ability to learn, could be you do tell yourself it's totally b'siyata d'shmaya. But there's a basic aspect of time, which the Bria is built in time. It's all about time. So, right, for us, there's Ovar, Hoive, Yeh, by Hashem there isn't. It's all one point. So obviously Hashem is above time. So if you connect yourself to Hashem, so you also be above time. And you won't feel that your atzlocha is totally in time, because that's again, if you have time, I'm a rich man, I have 10 minutes now, I can do this. That's koich. So a person can have a palginan. When it comes to the koyach, let's say he needs to carry a fridge from floor 1 to floor 10. And he has 10 minutes. And he knows, Yitzhak is very heavy. So for that he says, I know Hashem can help me carry it. But mitzvah the time aspect, he might not include Hashem in his calculations. Which means that the most basic thing in the Bria, which is time, he didn't bring Hashem into consideration in the most basic point of Bria. And could be that's why when a person says, I learn a Daf Gemara by a certain date, could be that's why there's a kitrug on that, because he's better saying, I have the time, so I can do it. Hashem wants to show him, no, you have time, it's not going to work. Why? You still need Siyata D'Shmaya. So it's just summarizes a new concept which Hashem gave me today, I think, or yesterday, that to say something is totally in time is also a problem of lack of emunah b'tachon. It's such a deep problem, we don't even realize it's a problem. But time is also something. So even people who did overcome the yodi michshoel of actually carrying things out, mitzad koyach or money or whatever, looking at the time aspect, then much to be desired. So a person goes around saying, I have no time, or I do have time, besides the bodn chaver problem, is a very serious, deep, inherent problem of lack of emunah, which Taka could be. I'm not sure, I don't know if what I'm saying is. I'm not so sure it's right. I think it is right, but could be. One could argue. I haven't run this through with any Adam Gadol, but it's a dvar emes, and therefore it's something which needs to be dealt with. Now it's very mind-boggling because we can't imagine things above time, because that's the way we're programmed. The world is all about time. But a person has to tell himself, obviously, practically he does ishtadlus k'terech ha'olam, but he has to know it's all about Hashem. In other words, if he thinks there's no time to do something, he has to tell himself, Hashem can help me even though there's no time. So just, again, the way to render things lemaisa, whenever we come to emunah b'tachon, what do we always say? There's a big problem. The doctors say they can't help. So we have to tell ourselves Hashem can do it anyway. A person needs a shidduch, and it seems the Shatchalim say they can't help him. He has to say Hashem can do it anyway. A person has a problem he's divorced. He might be divorced once, he might be divorced twice, he might be an older boy, he might have many, many problems. He has to say Hashem can do the shidduch anyway. And that we know how to do. Obviously, we know it's difficult, we forget, but we know there's what to work on. That's how we mechazik ourselves. When it comes to time, then that needs more chizuk. People don't even know there's a possibility. What, to go against time? Ein seichel anes. One has to know, you plan everything properly, like every other area in life. But you tell yourself, even though there might not be enough time, but Hashem can make it happen anyway. How? Okay? Our brain is not programmed to explain how, but it doesn't matter. Hashem can still do it. And that's a relatively new insight, a new avodah, which admits Hashem be chazik many people, because a lot of our stress we have in our life, a lot of our worries we have in our life is all about time. You have to get the bus, you have to get the airplane, you have to get the share, whatever. Many things are just totally in time. You have to rush to Mayev, rush to Mincha, rush to Seder. We have only 5 minutes to sleep. Okay, that we can understand already. The sleep itself, we know, Hashem gives koyach. So we're talking about koyach. But a person thinks he needs 10 hours, all about time, so it's a double problem. Either time is a problem, and the koyach is a problem. He has to know both come from Hashem. Okay, that's enough about that. And so you have a point of Baden Chaveru and Baden Lamokim in the Indian of never tell anybody of no time, because Hashem will give you more time. And if you think, and even if you are not in that measure, you think you lost time, so okay, Hashem can give it back to you. So you live an extra few years in Mitzvah Hashem. Could be that's why Gershon had tremendous longevity. He never said he had no time. A person says everything's about time, so Hashem says, okay, so you believe in your time, Hashem will take some away. But if you say I don't believe in the time, it all comes from Hashem, Hashem says, okay, you get plenty of more time. As good of Farichas Yamin. Okay, another point, Parshas Ba'aloischa, which is this week's and last week's at the same time. Perek Yudal Pasuk Chav Gimel. Vayimar Adonai Moshe, Hayad Adonai Tiktzar. Is Hashem limited? Ato Sira Yikachod Vayim Lo. So what's going on here? Says Rashi. Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Hashem at previous pasuk, "Hatzoyin v'choi shachet lohem or matzor lohem." What, you're going to give them tzoyin bokor, and then you're going to kill them? Explains Rashi. Meaning the only way matzor lohem means it should be enough for them. How's it going to be enough if that's their last meal? Then it's enough. Says Moshe to Hashem, that's not shevach of Hashem to give Am Yisrael their last meal. We tell a donkey, take a nice big amount of barley and eat it and have a good meal. That's not shevach. Shevach is to give people what they need and they should continue living. Not that this is the last meal. Heshiva HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says Rashi. If I won't give them a tremendous amount, they'll say that I can't afford it, Hashem can't do it. Meaning you're saying to kill Am Yisrael, I'm saying that they'll think Hashem is limited. Concludes Hashem, says Rashi, let them all die, and 100 like them, which is 10 times the amount of the Holocaust, because they're 600,000, and 10 times is 6 million, so another 10 times is 60 million. You should never even think that Hashem can't do something. And that seems to be the worst thing we see. To think Hashem is limited, that's the worst thing. Hashem says, better all die rather than think Hashem is limited. Better all Am Yisrael die and a 100-fold, meaning 60 million people. You shouldn't think, even for a second, Hashem can't do something. So we have to know the chiyuv of emunah b'tochen, to know Hashem can do everything, is constant and is a very, very big chiyuv. And it can be quite dangerous otherwise. However, midah tova merubah. So the more you think Hashem can do something, can you imagine what shefa and hatzlocha you'll get? If you tell yourself Hashem can solve any problem you have, let's say you're dealing with a shidduch, or you need money, or refuah, or you need time, as we say, you just don't have time, you need time. If you Tell us if Hashem can arrange the time, Hashem can give me time, tremendous atzlacha you'll get. Middle tzevim merubah. So 600 million, if 60 million people were about to die because of lack of a bitachon, so obviously, kavachol, you'd have 600 million people coming, whatever you need, not after 600 million people, but 600 million for what you need. So, not talking about 600 million, I'm talking about every person to himself. So it's 100 times. Hashem says, if you don't believe, you'll lose 100 times. Meaning, one person will die, but even 100 times like him will die. For every Jew there was in the Midbar, Hashem says it's kedai that 100 Jews should die, and that they shouldn't lose their bitachon. So a person does have bitachon, then he'll get 100 times, and right, echad michamish mois midah tova merubah. So that's 500 times 100. So let's say if you need 1 shekel, so if you don't believe it, you'll lose 100 shekel. If you do believe it, you'll get 5,000. You'll get 50,000 shekel. Right, 100 times 500. That's simple arithmetic. Middle tov merubah. So whenever you have any problem in life, just tell yourself, calm down. Hashem can do it. Internalize it. The more you believe it, the more bracha you'll get. Not even davening, just thinking that. Let's see. Another point, Parshas Shlach. So the Meraglim came back. They said, They said Hashem, I'm saying it very bluntly, but obviously I mustn't speak that way. They're saying Hashem can't take us into Eretz Yisrael. It's true he could conquer, he could destroy Mitzrayim, but this is already too much. 31 kings of Mitzrayim, then it's just too big for Hashem, and therefore, there's no hope. So Hashem said that all Chayiv Misa, Taka fits into what we said now as well. Hashem said, kill everybody. I wish Rabbeinu started davening to Hashem. He says like this, there'll be a chilul Hashem. The Mitzvim will say, oh, look, Hashem took them out of Mitzrayim and killed them all. What could be the reason? Now, the Mitzvim could say, yeah, Hashem couldn't take them into Eretz Yisrael. That's one option. They could say, Am Yisrael were punished. Punished for whatever they did, because they didn't believe. There's 2 options. Says the Torah. This is Parshas Shlach, Pasuk, Perek Yud Dalet, Pasuk Tesvav, Tesayin. Moshe said to Hashem, "Ve'matos Omar Zek Ish Echad, you'll kill everybody like one man." For Omar Goyim, the Goyim who heard of you, of Hashem, they know your koyach, they heard of your koyach, they heard all about Mitzrayim. They'll say, Pasuk Tesayin, "Mi bilti chodesh Hashem, lo havi es Omar Zeh, elo oretz Hashanishba." They'll say, Hashem couldn't do it. Hashanishba lehem vayishchotem b'midbar. Why did Hashem kill everybody in the Midbar? Kaviyachal, Hashem couldn't take them into Eretz Yisrael. And Hashem agreed. Says Hashem, Pasuk Chof, Solachti kedvorecha. There shouldn't be chilul Hashem. Says Rashi, Pasuk Chof Beis, Pasuk Chof Aleph of Beis, yeah? In order that the Mitzvah shouldn't say that Hashem couldn't do it, so Mela, they'll survive. Says this photo. I think Rashi says that as well. I can't find it right now. But the Mesa, there's 2 options, as we said. The guy might say, now the real reason we know Am Yisrael are being killed because they did Averis. They didn't have a Munah B'tochen. But the guy won't say that. They'll say, you know what happened? Hashem couldn't do it. Why won't the Goyim say that Am Yisrael had a virus? What do you mean? Am Yisrael, such tzaddikim, Hashem's helping them the whole time? Obviously they have no virus. So why are they being killed? Because Hashem just can't do it, so he just nowhere to put them, so he kills them. Very simple. Says Rashi, they see ki ato Hashem shoichem bekirbo, v'ayin ba'ayin ato Hashem niro Elohem, v'akoil b'derech chiba. They know that you love Am Yisrael, v'lo yikiro b'chol. They didn't know that your Ava stopped till now, so why would it stop from now? Says the Svunu, v'lo yachshavu, the Goyim won't think, shetia takalosam, that the misfortune of Am Yisrael, b'shvil shel zavta oisem ba'avoinom, because they did Averis. Why? Because they saw the Shgocha Pratis. The Goyim saw you love Am Yisrael. They haven't heard that things changed. So, it's a very simple point here. The Goyim are saying, Am Yisrael are looked after by Hashem. Hashem helps them. We haven't heard that He doesn't. And therefore, obviously, the reason why He killed them, because He can't bring them to Eretz Yisrael. Now, this hashkafa, we have to be very careful ourselves. When we see somebody going through a tzoros, what do we say? If he's very ill and doctors couldn't help him, we say, yeah, you know why he died? Oh, doctors couldn't help him. You hear what happened? Plainly died. Why? Doctors couldn't help him. He had an illness, which people don't want to say the name because Kaviyachal, they think Hashem can't cure it, so it's incurable. Huh? Now, really, you should say, why did he plainly die? I don't know. His time was up. He actually did an Avera. Probably did an Avera. What's the Avera? We don't know. To say what Avera, Taka is not our derech. To say there was an Avera, that's the Pashtus. Obviously there was. Why? We don't know. Which Avera? That's not nice to say. So we just say doctors couldn't help him. Yeah, but isn't Hashem in charge? So we speak like the Goyim do betzim. We prefer to say Hashem couldn't help him rather than say he did an Avera. Now it's true, we're not up to Schar V'Oinish. It means we don't say why Hashem did it because it's not nice to say that person had a certain Avera. To say it was some sort of Avera, you have to say that, otherwise you'll end up in Kfira b'Schar V'Oinish, and also Kfira in the Koyach of Hashem to save him. So why didn't Hashem save him? Elo, my doctors couldn't. Why didn't Hashem save him? Answer, doctors couldn't. Otherwise they mean Hashem couldn't. It's better to say he didn't have it. We don't know which one. Kui was Mamash Bedakus, a very, very fine thing. Or just time just came up. But to say doctors couldn't help him, that's not the reason why he died. That's how he died. So this is a shkaf which comes from the Goyim. I have to make sure we don't adapt it in the wrong way. So it's better to be a bit nasty, but believe and be mechazik the inos Schar V'Oinish. I've stuck it many times. My father, so sein gesund does. Certain things happen to people. He says it's because of their Averis. So obviously everything has to be taken properly, and to say it wasn't because of Averis, so why then? So people then might just say, oh, doctors couldn't help him, and then it'll lead to Kfira b'Schar V'Oinish, and also Kfira in the Koyach of Hashem to help people. So the more mechazik these inyanim, the inyan of generally believing Hashem can do everything, it's the biggest chus for ourselves. It's the chus for other people as well. If you know somebody has a certain problem, tell yourself Hashem can help him. You still have your chiyuvim or be'odin chaver to help people, tzedakah, chesed, whatever, but to tell yourself Hashem can help him, and you want to be part of it, and that's a tremendous chus. But whenever a person's worried, kafir shit, it means he doesn't feel Hashem can help him. And that's why he's so stressed up. That itself is a tremendous problem. So the more you mechazik, the more schus you'll get, and that's Taka top priority. Taka is the biggest mitzvah. This time Munum B'tochen is a bigger mitzvah than Limud HaTorah. And also to channel the idea of Munum B'tochen to every area in life, even things we can't even think how it can help. Something called time, which we think is very solid and not very elastic. And the more you mekayim the bakosha of Gershon Edelstein, the more schus you'll get. Because right now everybody's speaking about his shevach, everybody's doing a spedim. There's tremendous kavod shamayim going on in the world. People realize, to learn 100 years is taka kedai, to do Torah mitzvahs is kedai. And that's a Kiddush Hashem. It's a Zman of Kiddush Hashem. It's an Eis Rotzen. So you're more a part of it by doing what he said, like Nusa, Badnu Chaveroi, you'll be Zeichen to Bracha V'Atzlacha, and obviously mainly be Zeichen to kind of mitzvah and mitachem properly, Bracha V'Atzlacha, Shalom Shalom.